Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we'll be building a LEGO troop transport. So as to have room for the actual troops, I'll be starting off this build but with an 8x16 base. For the bottom of the base of this vehicle, I'm using long Technic beams to later hold the wheels for it. The base layer for the front of the tank is comprised of 2x4 slopes as well as a ball joint clip to later hold the actual front panel of the tank. Now we can start working on the interior of the tank. First off, I'll add clips to the sides, so that way I can later have the panels attached to them. Next, I'll add in a computer screen to the front of the tank for the controls. Next, I'll use 1x2 and 2x2 3 high slope pieces to later actually hold the roof of the tank. Finally, I'll also add clips to the back of the tank to also hold the panels. I'm attaching a modified 1x8 brick to the back of the tank to look like a step up to get into the interior. This tank is based off the Bradley fighting vehicle, which is the most modern American troop transport. The Bradley is a tall vehicle with a highly sloped front as well as nice and sloped sides. To capture that same side sloping of the Bradley and LEGO, I'm using a 16 stud long panel with a 4x6 slope in the front. As usual, I'm using a dark gray and dark green color palette with dark red as the accent color. The front of the Bradley is sloped back even farther. To capture that same slope while also not leaving a gap in the corner of this vehicle, I'm using a 1x2x3 sloped brick on top of a 1x6 plate. I'm using brackets along the front to leave space for explosive reactive armor. Explosive reactive armor, ERA, is basically a low-powered explosive that detonates when it is hit. This weak explosion is not strong enough to penetrate the actual armor of the tank, but it's strong enough to dissipate some of the force of the shell that hit the tank. To make ERA and LEGO, I'm just using a 1x2 ingot piece. Now with the front panel all armored up, we can actually add it to the front of the tank. I'm pleased with how few gaps there are between the side panels and the front panel of the tank. For the bottom front of the tank, I'm using a bracket with some dark green slopes and tiles to cover up any gaps. I'm also adding a frontal light machine gun. Now we can move on to the back panel of the tank. The back panel needs to do two different things. It needs to have a hole for the hatch to fit on top of, and it also needs to roughly match the sloping of the sides of the tank. I found that a 1x2x2 slope fits the angle I'm going for pretty well. For the rear hatch of the tank, I'm using 1x4 slope pieces on top of 1x2 clips. I'm using a 1x1 tile to be a futuristic lock to the tank. With all of the panels done, I can move on to the roof of the tank. The roof is just some 4-stud wide plates with tiles on top. I tried to use a good variety of tile colors and shapes to keep the top of the vehicle interesting. This is where I start moving away from the Bradley design. Although the Bradley fighting vehicle has tracks, I decided that I wanted to use wheels instead. Several other army vehicles and even troop transports use wheels instead of tracks, as it gives more mobility as well as it just makes it easier logistically. I'm using 4 wheels per side as it fits the tank's length. I'm also just using basic LEGO large wheel pieces as my wheels. I'm also diverging from the Bradley design for the turret. Modern day Bradley tanks have unmanned turrets that are controlled from the inside. Although this actual LEGO model can't fit a figure inside the turret, if this tank was real, it would fit one person in the turret as the commander. For the sides of the turret, I'm using these 1x6 dark gray slopes sideways attached to the side of the turret. I'm using a 2x2 round tile to be the hatch for the top of the turret. For the back of the turret, I'm putting 3 snot bricks at various angles on the snot bricks at the back of the turret to get upward facing studs even while having sideways studs. I'm also adding a comms disc to the back of the turret. Just like the Bradley tanks, the gun for this thing is not all that impressive. The Bradley tanks use a 50 caliber Bushmaster chain gun, and this tank uses a 30mm autocannon. To make the autocannon, I'm using a Technic piece with a candlestick piece on the end of it. After putting the turret of the tank on, we've completed the build, and now we can move on to the showcase. Designated as the M2 Adams, this troop transport is a future version of the Bradley. Up armored with thicker armor and advanced ERA, this tank can hold its own in any battle. Able to carry 3 crew and 10 troops, the Adams can bring more than just his gun and armor into battle. So there you go, there's a finished build of the M2 Adams. I've edited and modified this build so many different times. This is a picture of my first attempt at this tank. This was taken to show a friend, but I thought it'd be cool to just add it here so you can see a little bit into my design process. When I first started building this tank, I didn't even mean for it to be a troop transport, it was going to be a main battle tank. When it started looking just like a Bradley, I decided to lean into that and make it just be a troop transport. Instead of just lore dumping at the end of the video like I did for my last one, I'll be typing out some lore and making it a community post. Stay tuned for my next video for when I'll be showcasing another enemy build. Until my next video, have fun building.